Okay, perfect. Okay. So, let's go into it. So, going into that coin trade that we had earlier, I also talked about, let's start simple. Um, so on coin today, we got, let me just double check what we got. We had 61 calls, I believe I'm correct. Yep, we had 61 calls for March 3rd. So Friday's expiration, 61 calls on coin. Now, the reason for this trade was at open, we saw a pretty good, red candle, pretty big red candle. Then on the next 10-minute, we saw a nice spinning top candle, which I have circled here that you guys could see. And just to show you guys again what a spinning top is, here's a bullish spinning top. In this case, this is what we have. Look at this, looks exactly the same. You got the wicks on both ends. You got the spinning top in the middle. And then we got confirmation here. Confirmation, I always want to see it close above a wick. And this is for any candle, preferably. You see the next 10-minute we closed above. So I'm perfectly fine with missing, in this case, 70 to 80 cents of the move. That I'm fine with that. I'd rather see confirmation than anything else, because who knows, the next candle could have been another one of these and we could have possibly flagged down. It could have been a bear flag. And you see that, every so often. That's why I always wait for confirmation. So we got the confirmation on this next candle. Remember I told you guys with this white line right here, I said like 59.50, 59.55. I want to see a retrace and strength. Well, we retraced, got a little bit under it, but we held with strength. As you can tell, we came back up. Once I saw that we were breaking above the previous candle here at 59.80, that's when we went long. We looked at levels where this top wick and where we were kind of stuck over here, 60.50. We said that would be our first price target. That's where we hit. That's where we trimmed. And then it even extended a little bit more into 61. So today it didn't really have that much of range. Now, with that said, I also said, I'm looking at a possible short on this name right after it hit that, and it looked a little weak because we were seeing some spinning tops on the 10 and 15 minute. And in this case, if you look at this, we have a beautiful bearish spinning top. So this is all in 30 minutes here, by the way, basically. Well, it's all in like 45 to an hour. We had two spinning tops, one at the bottom, one at the top. You could have got basically $1.50 move each way. And this is another beautiful textbook spinning top here. And again, here's just the bear side of it. Bearish spinning top, that is literally identical to that chart that I just showed you. You have the bottom wick, the top wick, and you have the spinning top right here. We did not take this put trade, but we did take the long trade from down here. And again, we entered just about right here, and we played it up into the first price target where we had the wicks and the openings and closings near the high day here in pre-market. So that's how we played that. That's how we found that. Coin has just been so good to me. Even though I missed so many trades on it in the past month or two, I mean, it just repeatedly moves and does, great movement. So we're going to keep this one on watch, and we're probably going to continuously play it. Sorry, I couldn't speak there. Now, I also talked about a short on S&P 500 futures, SPY. Sorry about my dog in the background there. I apologize. And you can see on this candle here, so this is what we call a hanging man. And let me show you this. You got the hanging man right here. And it's basically a candle that just closes near the top, has a long down wick after an uptrend. And in this case, you see we did it here. And again, look at this. Look at this next candle right here. You could see we had confirmation on the next candle. We closed under the wick. We got entry on that, and we just played it down. This was a beautiful trade. We didn't get, well, actually, sorry. I actually didn't take this trade, sadly. Other people in the room did, so I'm glad to hear that. And I'm also glad to see that people saw this candle, because that's all I'm just trying to show. I'm trying to show these candles, trying to show these reversals, and hopefully you guys are able to, use them to your advantage in the future and for your own trading. And this one worked out perfectly. Sadly, didn't take it short. I don't know why I didn't do it. 10:30 is the reason why. 10:30 we had Fed Governor Jefferson speaking, and Dallas Fed manufacturing numbers there. So that's why I actually didn't take it. I really should have. But this one did turn out to play out extremely well, from 40.18 all the way down to 39.86 in just about under an hour and a half. So you had 30 plus points under an hour and a half. That would have been paid well, whether you're SPY, whether you're SPX, or whether you're futures trading it. So that's what we were looking at there. I didn't see this. I had a step away earlier in the day. But you had two other opportunities here. So here, this is kind of like the same thing. Kind of had a spinny top here. You could also kind of consider this a tweezer bottom. That's one of my favorite, setups to watch. A tweezer bottom here on the 10-minute at 12:10. And as you can see, we confirmed the next candle. We did not close above the wick, so that would be a little iffy to me. You have to wait, or realistically, I probably wouldn't trade it. But as you can see, we did push up higher, and we went up, 11, 12 points from there. So that's just another, possible setup we could have watched there. Now, that's a good question. So someone asked, would you look to get into these trades on the 5-minute or on the 10 or 15-minute that you're showing it on? So I look at a couple different time frames. It's all the time frames that are up here. 1 minute, 3-minute, 5-minute, 10-minute, 15-minute, 30-minute. Those are really my core ones. I do look on the hourly, the 4-hour, and the daily as well. But those are my core ones, those smaller ones. Now, if I'm not confirming anything on the 1 or 3-minute, I think it's just too short of time. With that said, I will watch it and see if I see, multiple time frames showing kind of the same thing. Now, I would really prefer confirming things on the 5, 10, 15, 30, blah, 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 as those, obviously are stronger time frames to confirm on. Now, a beautiful setup is us hitting all these, trying to see something here. So in this case, we had a 10-minute hanging man on ES futures, which is S&P 500. On the 15-minute, we had a little shooting star here. So that could be, two possible confirmations there that could, really set us up. So shooting star, you got a little wick above, and then you got the candle at the bottom there. This isn't that big of a shooting star, but you can see the same thing I'm talking about. You got the candle here, wick above. And then on the 10-minute, obviously the hanging man was absolutely gorgeous here. And that's basically what I look for. Just confirmation, double time frame analysis, stuff like that. And just stuff like that. 2 p.m. Where are we at 2 p.m.? I'm not sure what happened. I actually had to step away a little bit today, because I went to go look at a rental property. Just typing something. If you guys have any questions, please do DM or message on Discord there. So other things to kind of look at. Now, just because we get into a trade, now you got to manage it. For example, I'm doing the $2,500 account right now. So everything I do is just based off that. You want to be able to consistently size in a smart way. And again, this all depends on, who you are as a person. I have no clue what any of your guys' financial situations is. But I would still say, even if you had, let's just say you're trading with $10 million, okay? I would not put more, and in that case, I wouldn't put more than 100K in. I mean, I think that's well enough, even lower than that, 25 to 50K. It depends on who you are as a person. Again, that's a large number. So let me tone that down a little bit. Let's say you're trading with $1 million account. I would not put more than $10,000 in a trade. That's me personally. Other people have different risk styles, and depending on your age and depending on, where you are in life and so on and so forth and what you can fall back on, it's all up to you. Consistently sizing for me, I want to be smart. I want to, consistently grow. It's all about the base hits, doubles, and if you get the triples and home runs in there and the grand slams, good for you. Um, but if you could just continuously add up and add up and add up, you don't need to be risking all that capital. Um, going for that home run, and then all of a sudden you strike out. That $10,000 turns into, $4,000 on one trade. You don't want that. That's not the type of scenario you want. And people need to, with that consistent sizing, you have to have stops in place, whether they're mental or whether they're on the broker themselves. You need to have stops in place. And you need to also have, basically targets in place, profits and stuff. If you're up 15%, trim half your contracts, let the rest ride with a stop and profit, and just continuously do that. You just have to have plans in place to, one, preserve your capital, and two, grow that capital. So when I'm trading, I'm consistently sizing. Let's say I have that 2,500. As of right now, I'm going a little bit heavier. 500 to 600, maybe 700. And again, that compared to what I was just saying, that's a lot. But with that 500, 600, 700 I'm trading with, I'm not risking more than 100 or 125, 150 max on it. So it's not like I'm putting that money up and I'm saying, if I lose all that money. No, I have plans in place to limit my risk. It's just, if I have to get into a trade, let's just say, something like coin today, the contracts were $2.50. I got 3 or 4 contracts, that's $700 right there. That's when I do that. Something like Nvidia where the contracts could be 400 or $500 a contract, something like that. I'm not letting my account, I'm not going all in. I'm not going 100, 200, 300, 400 contracts. And I'm not just letting it die out. There's always something that comes into play. For me, it's the charts. So if I see it gets over or under, previous levels, and it starts looking weak on my end, whichever direction I'm shooting, I'm gonna have to sell out and just move on to the next trade, and that's fine. We're not expected to win every trade. That is not how this goes. I wish it did go like that for all of us, but it does not go like that for us. There's always going to be wins and losses. You just got to learn from both sides. And that's realistically the best type of, info I could give you. You have to be able to put in the work to learn what works for you, learn what strategy you like, and what, could really play out for you, and just learn what your specific account size and position size is that could help you not be as emotional as you are as a trader. As we all have emotions while trading, whether we missed a big play because we had to sell early, stuff like that, whether we sold too quick because we wanted to lock in profits and then you watch it go 200%. That would be me. I do that a lot. But that's something I'm working on. That's something I'm growing on to become better at, because once I unlock that, then that's one of the biggest things that's holding me back. And it's held me back for a few years. With that said, I've done extremely well. I mean, without trading, I wouldn't be where I am, in life, and with real estate, and with just where my account has gone. But still, it's things I could work on, and things I want to work on to better myself, better my trading, and hopefully be able to share to others, and hopefully don't get into the same trap that I got into in the beginning. Yes, this is recorded, so I'll post it up, especially for those that aren't seeing the screen right now. I'll post it up. Yeah, for me, so it's only price action. I have 9, 13, 21 EMAs, and I have the volume weighted average price, so VWAP. And then other than that, it's really just candles and price action. I'm just looking to, follow where the markets are leading us, and just using it to the best of my advantage I can. That's really when I shoot for it. That's what's worked for me. That's what has made me into a better trader. So that's what I'm sticking with. I mean, I've done other strategies before that just didn't work as good. And this has worked amazing over the past 3+ years for me. So that's why I've stuck to it. And it's definitely become, my number one there. Yeah, so someone brought up a good question. Any point on a stop loss? The reason why I'm asking is sometimes after touching the stop loss, the trend gets reversed. And sadly that could happen. Now with that said, sorry about that. With that said, it could always happen. I could have a stop at, let's say today, I could have had a stop on coin on the 61 calls. Hold on, let me just get to it. I could have had a stop, at the bottom of this wick at 58.17. And we could have went to 58 and then we could have ripped. We could have had this set up here, we could have ripped. Because there was some support in pre-market and after hours where we started at 58 and on the close at Friday. And that could have happened. I could have been stopped out only to watch it go up $2.50 after. It's just a part of the game. Now, with that said, that's why I do look back on, a couple of days back. I look at where there was a lot of support, a lot of resistance, and try to base my numbers off of there. Of course, I don't want to go too far. So in this case, if I'm entering here, I'd even be a little worried if we obviously get down here. But just in general, the price action for me tells that if I enter at 59.50 after it held, and let's just say, it didn't go my way today, and it dropped like 40 cents and it just was looking weak, the market was looking weak, the dollar was rising, so on and so forth. Obviously, it looks like, the play is not going to really work out, so I'm going to hop out. But then again, let's just say I entered, here, and I entered at 58.70. I talked about that bottom wick there at 58.20, and we went under that. I'd have to stop out and just, follow my rules. If we did bounce at 58 somehow, it is what it is. Sometimes I'd watch a little bit, wait a few minutes and wait for the close of the candle. That's usually helped me a lot in seeing things that go under my levels and then decide to actually, rip extremely higher after that. Because it never closed at that level. It may have breached it, but it never closed at that level. So that's kind of one way I could answer that question, I guess. Let me see if there's any more questions. So that's basically what we'll do tonight. And then I'm going to send out that newsletter in the next 10-15 minutes after this. If there's not any more questions, I'll kind of end it here. As I've always said, I just want to keep them short, 15-25 minutes max. I know no one wants to look back and watch a 20-minute video, so I want to keep it as short as possible, so it just has, information that people actually kind of go through. So when you look back at support levels and you're ready to put your support lines in, what do you look for? Okay, that's a good example. That's a good question. So let's use futures. I think that would be a much better way to put this. Okay, where are we going here? So wait, let me check out coin for a second. Okay. Even better. Let's do this. Okay, this is actually even better. Let's do the dollar index. So DXY. Let me just read the question one more time. So when you look back at support levels and you're ready to put your support lines in, what do you look for? Okay. In this case, we're looking at a resistance line. So again, could go same way. Let's just say this is a support, blah, blah, blah. In this case, it's a resistance. So we had a top wick here that, didn't really get through. Let me just go back a little bit further. Okay, yep. We had a top wick here that didn't get through. We came back up to it on 2 separate occasions here, and you can see we never really had strength over it. You see we rejected here, came back below, and then we finally broke above, supported here, and then broke higher. So that's where I put that line I put it after this one. Actually, I put it on this on the first time because usually these top wicks, those shooting stars, those reversals here, that's usually where I put the line. And then you can see it obviously played out here, came back down, got rejected here a couple times here, and then it broke through, supported, blah, blah, blah. And then today we went under it, but we're not that far off. So we're going to see tomorrow if the dollar gets supported here now, that resistance turns support. Let's see if it gets supported here and gets back above this tomorrow. If not, it will now turn into resistance again at 104.68, 104.70 just about. So that would be a good example of that. Let's just see. Let's talk about that 40.21, 40.25. Now that would be a good one on the futures. So over the past, let's see. So over the past 4 to 5 days, we have had top wicks at 40.21, 40.25, 40.35, and you can see we have rejected those areas repeatedly. Day in and day out. I mean, today we hit 40.25 and got rejected, as you can see with this top wick. So again, it's all just previous levels, all just wicks, all just openings and closings, and using those to my advantage to see where support and resistance is. Now that we're kind of looking at this, by the way, on the daily chart here, this could be interesting tomorrow. We could be bullish tomorrow. Again, I don't want to say it yet, but I'm going to talk about this in the newsletter in the next 10-15 minutes. We could be bullish here tomorrow with this inverted hammer. In this case, I'll show you where it is. Inverted hammer right here. So we've been just chopping around. You got the inverted hammer. This would be a beautiful example of that. Would want to see a retest of 40.17, 40.21, and 40.25. 40.25 being today's top wick. If we somehow broke above that tomorrow, that could send us into 40.30 and 40.35. Those would be the key next, resistances. I'm getting 40.35 off of Thursday's candle top wick where we rejected and came down. So let's watch this inverted hammer tomorrow on ES. Let me check SPY. So SPY looks a little uglier. Yeah, we'll see how this plays out. I don't know if it's gonna play out just because there's a little difference between the two of them. I mean, this could look pretty good because this could be like a tweezer top. Yeah, okay. Yeah, we'll see how this plays out. I'll definitely talk about it in the newsletter. In the next 5-10 minutes. But other than that, I'm gonna end it here. So we went over a couple of things. We went over a little bit, very briefly about support and resistances, very briefly about, sizing and stuff. And then we went over that daily recap on why we took those trades, why we, those candlesticks that we used and the levels that we used, pre-market levels and intraday levels. Those spinning tops that, played out perfectly today for coin. The hanging man that played out perfectly today for the downside on ES. And we'll kind of just keep diving into these things every week. So I plan to do it every Monday, 7:15, depending on when I'm able to get out of the gym. And then maybe even add another day along the week within that. Other than that, we have spaces, every day that we live trade. And then I'm also in spaces that we have aftermarket, that are learning as well. So there's usually a lot of good content, and not even just from me, just from other people on social media. Just make sure you're following the right people as well. But other than that, there's so much you guys can learn. We're all just trying to help, or at least hopefully I'm speaking for everyone. But we're all just trying to help and just kind of hopefully guide you guys past the mistakes that we made. That's why I do it specifically. I could be trading on my own and really wouldn't matter to me, but I'd rather work with people. I'd rather talk to people every day. And I honestly I'd rather even us work together and we all find plays that I'm not seeing. That's what it's all about. But other than that, have a great night, guys. I will post this up in the next 5-10 minutes. I'll also have that newsletter up in 15 to 20. So have a great night. And I will see you guys tomorrow. So have a good trading day tomorrow. Have a good night, guys.